Okay, topic 10.2 is all about arcs and semicircles and central angles. And when you think about an arc, this is just a piece of the circumference. If you want to think about a pizza, the crust would be like an arc. A central angle is one that has its vertex at the center of the circle and the sides are all radii. So what that means is the angle, if you look down here, I'm going to highlight one in this picture, the vertex of the angle is in the center of the circle. A minor arc, so we have a couple different types of arcs. A minor arc is one with a measure less than 180 degrees when we measure it, and it's named by its endpoints. So where it starts and stops, and we'll talk about that here in just a second in the first example. A major arc is one with a measure greater than 180 and it's named by its endpoints and one other point on that arc. So when we name a minor arc, we need 2 points, and when we name a major arc, we need 3. So let's look at an example here. Remember, a central angle is one where the angle is in the center, basically. The vertex is in the center. So if we go to name that, remember with an angle we need 3 letters. So we could say L-E-Y, or we could flip it and say Y-E-L. It's up to you, as long as the E is in the middle. A minor arc is one that measures less than 180. So I'm going to highlight in blue a minor arc. So from L to Y would be an example of a minor arc because it's less than half the circle. So we would name it like this. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. We would put the 2 letters L and Y, and we would put the arc symbol over it, so it looks just kind of like an eyebrow. A major arc is one that's over halfway the circle, so we could go the other way, and with the major we need 3 letters, so it's connecting L to U to Y, and that tells you what direction that you're going to go on the arc, or on the circle, and then give it the arc symbol. So minors less than 180, majors are greater than 180, minors need 2 letters, majors need 3s. If we were to add all of the central angles in a circle, then they would always add up to 360. So all the angles in that circle at the center with the vertices at the center will always add up to 360. And the nice thing is whatever the central angle equals, so does the measure of the arc. So angle LEY, whatever its measure is, let's say an example would be 95 degrees. Then the arc would also measure 95 degrees. Those are always going to be the same if the vertex is in the center of the circle. So let's look at some examples here. Measure of angle PCM. So let's highlight PCM. We can see they gave us the measure as 110. The corresponding arc, the one it opens up to, is right here. Let me highlight it so you see it's the same. And that would also equal 110. Okay, so 2 letters PM means it's a minor arc, so that would equal 110 also. The other direction, we would think, well, we know an entire circle equals 360, so we could take the 360 and take the 110 away from it, and that would give us 250, and that's what our major arc would equal. So PNM, if we connect P to N to M, that would equal 250. Then it says what kind of arc is PM? Well, it has 2 letters. That's kind of a given right away. We can see the measure is less than 180, so it would be a minor arc. And it says, how do you know? Well, we would say because it is less than 180 degrees. All right, the next kind of arc is called a semicircle. You guys have heard that word for a long time. We know a semicircle is an arc with a measure of 180. It's half the circle. So if the whole circle is 360, semi means it's in half. We also name it like a major arc, so we do have to use 3 letters when we name a major arc in a semicircle. Sorry about that. So let's look at some examples here. My advice is to label everything in the picture before you even think about answering the questions. It'll make it so much easier. Now let's look at this first sentence. FD, ray FD is tangent to circle O. So that means we have a right angle. We learned that in 10-1. So let's break this down for a minute. We know that if angle AOB is 45, then so will this. DC, arc DC would be 85 because it matches its central angle. We have a 9-degree angle here in red. That would be 90 degrees. Now, we're missing a couple other pieces, so we have to think for a second. Well, I know that this right here is a right triangle, and we know that triangles add up to 180, but also their acute angles add up to 90 degrees. So I can just say 90 minus 38, and that would give me 52 to go right here, and for arc ED. Now we have every angle but one, and we know that they have to add up to 360, so we can add all of these angles up. We can say 45, 90, 85, and 52, and if we were to add all that up, that would give us 272. We could take that away from 360, and that would give us 88, and that is what this angle would equal, and also its corresponding arc. So now we have all of our angles, we have all of our arcs. Now let's answer our questions. So DOF, let me get a highlight color here. D to O to F, okay, right there in purple. We already found that that is 52 degrees. EOA, so E to O to A, we know that that is 88. Makes it so much easier once you have all the information. Now they're wanting some arcs because they have the arc symbol over it. So arc AB, connect A to B. We can see that that's 45. Make sure you have your degree symbols on everything. Arc A to D. So it's only 2 letters, so you're thinking, okay, how do I connect it from A to D? Do I go clockwise or do I go counterclockwise? Well, because it's 2 letters, which means it's a minor arc, so we have to go to the shorter distance. So we know we would go this way. So we have to add the 88 and the 52 together. So we're going to make a note of that over here to the side to remind ourselves that we did that, and that gives us 140. Now we're going to connect A to C. Same thing. Which one's going to give us a shorter distance because it's a minor arc? Well, we know we're going to go clockwise here, so we're going to add 45 and 90, which is going to give us 135. Okay, B to C is easy because it's one connect, and again, we know it's got to be that way because it's a minor arc. We're not going to go counterclockwise this time, so that would be 90 degrees. Now we have 3 letters, which means it's a major arc, so we have to have a number that's greater than 180. And it tells us that we're going to connect A to D to C. So all 3 of those, the 88, the 52, and the 85. So 88, 52, and 85. And if we add all that up, that gives us 225, which is greater than 180. Another major arc, A to C to D. Connect A to C to D. So we're going to add 45, 90, and 85. 45, 90, and 85. And if we add all that up, that gives us 220 degrees. Now back to a minor arc, E to D. Well, that one's easy right there at 52 degrees. And our last minor arc here is A to E, so right here, nice easy 88. Okay, but again, my advice is to find all your pieces first, okay, then answer your question. So we're going to do the same thing on example 4. So I'm going to help you find all of those. You're going to pause the video, and then you're going to check your answers with mine. So we know that this is a 9-degree angle here, which means that's 90. Arc MN is opposite the 25, so there's that one. QP is 38. RQ is 87. Now we're missing 2 angles. Well, we don't know that they're congruent or not. We have no idea, but we do know that these 3 right here are going to add up to 180 because that's half a circle. Z to P is a diameter. And if we're not sure, we can look here. P to Z is a diameter. Always pay attention to those little details. So we know we can add 87 and 38, and that gives us 125. Subtract from 180, not 360 because we're working with a semicircle for a minute. and that gives us 55. So there is where that comes from, which makes its minor arc the same. And we can do the same thing on this other side, or we can add them all up and subtract from 360, but that's a little bit more work. So we can say 90 and 25, which gives us 115. 180 minus 115 is going to give us 65, which gives us that piece there. Now you have everything you need. So pause the video, try to answer all the questions, and then start it back up and check your answers with mine. I'm just going to sit here and write through them. You pause and try. The other thing that you have to do in the second blank is you have to classify it. Based on the measurement, will it be a minor arc, a major arc, or a semicircle? So pause, try, and then come back and check your answers. Okay, hopefully you got all those correct. Just remember 2 letters, minor arc, 3 letters, either a major or semicircle. If it equals 180, it's a semicircle. If it's over 180, it's a major arc.